Watch Dogs is a 2014 open-world stealth game that uses an in-depth hacking system to enhance its stealth and setting. The game was released to heavy criticism for the final product not being as advertised, but 11 years later, how does this gem of a game hold up? Well, in today's spoiler-free review, we'll dive into Chicago and step into the shoes of the vigilante, all to answer the question, should you play Watch Dogs in 2025? If you wish to see more from Watch Dogs, then don't worry, they'll all be coming soon as a part of my 200 subscriber special, which will include the Watch Dogs trilogy along with their DLCs, all as spoiler-free reviews. But without further delay, I hope you enjoy the video. Watch Dogs tells a simple story about revenge, family, and corruption. We play as Aiden Pearce, a man riddled with grief and guilt over the murder of his 6-year-old niece, the result of a job gone wrong. However, where Watch Dogs differs from other revenge stories is the fact that we, as the player, already know who shot the wheel and caused that tragedy. But what Aiden wants instead is answers. Just who put this hit on him? Just why is his family still in danger? And what sort of rabbit hole did he and his partner stumble upon that caused this chain reaction of events? You will walk the path of a vigilante, a flawed man who treads on the line between right and wrong, the morally grey but also hypocritical path of a manipulator and murderer who will stop at nothing to protect his family, even if it costs him absolutely everything to obtain the truth and punish those who commit evil acts. We aren't supposed to love Aiden, but we are supposed to understand him. But as the plot unveils and Aiden grows as a character to recognise his flaws and realise how deep he's gone, a man driven by obsession and stuck in the past, that's where we truly see the complex man that is Aiden. That turning point is exactly when he becomes the iconic and lovable protagonist that we want to root for no matter how far he goes to achieve his goals. I also enjoyed his relationship dynamic with the supporting cast of characters, both friends and foes. His sister knows him as Aiden, her older brother. She looks up to him, but we, the player, know him as Aiden Pearce, the brutal vigilante. It's interesting seeing the two interact, as we know Aiden feels responsible for the death of his own sister's daughter, so seeing them interact at times is heartbreaking, because early on she's completely unaware of his other side. Aiden will also meet a few allies along the way. Some are pretty boring and don't get much in the way of screen time, however they didn't exactly need to. They were used wonderfully as plot devices to drive Aiden's story forward. The same can't be said for some of the antagonists, lacking much personality and any traits that make a villain iconic. However, the main antagonist was a great parallel to Aiden, the two sharing a main goal, but their reasoning and convictions clash, constantly making for some interesting interactions. Overall, the story of Watch Dogs to this day completely grips me. I've played this game 4 times now, and I can play it again and again and again. Though the game has a few issues with pacing and some story missions felt a bit unfinished and didn't take full advantage of the game's unique mechanics, there were still some very iconic missions that stood out. The final mission definitely goes off the rails a bit, but it's still a satisfying conclusion to a painfully grim but simple story that touches on many subjects and dives into the darker side of the world. Watch Dogs has an engaging yet sometimes repetitive gameplay loop. Hacking is where this game truly shines. The amount of freedom you have with this ability is very satisfying. It leads to many different ways to play. You start the game with a limited amount of weaponry and abilities, so you can learn the basics like hacking security cameras and other gadgets to distract or take down enemies. But it isn't just about hacking, you can also go in guns blazing if you wish to. However, I don't see the fun in this, not only because the gunplay isn't that great and somewhat janky. Part of the fun is planning your route and taking down foes without alerting a single enemy, like Agent 47 from Hitman. And as you progress through the game, you will earn skill points through various means, which will open up more weapons in your arsenal and more skills. This skill tree is split into 4 categories. Hacking. This will open up more diverse options for hacking, unlocking new and fun methods of clearing out enemies, which enhances the stealth system greatly, and also some really fun and random abilities. Combat. These skills will enhance your weapon handling with things like quick reload, weapon switching, and weapon mastery. Again, the gunplay in this game isn't great, but man, that focus ability that allows you to slow down time does make you feel like an 80s action hero, which is depressing as it was removed in the second game and future titles. Gadgets are on-the-go, craftable items that will help you infiltrate enemy territory. You can unlock more gadgets through the skill tree, which can give you abilities like Lure, a throwable device that will distract enemies and lure them in, Scan will scan the area and pinpoint any enemies in the area, giving you a visual on the best routes. IEDs, explosive devices that can be thrown just about anywhere and will stick to surfaces like walls, ceilings, everything, with two types. One that sets off with motion sensors, but be careful because you can accidentally blow yourself off, and the other which can only be set off via hacking. There are other gadgets, but let's speak about them later. All of these abilities add a ton of depth to the gameplay, giving you a variety of options on how you want to play. You can hack objects like forklifts or set off car alarms to distract enemies and take down enemies one at a time. You can plan your route using various hacks and using the environment to your advantage to take down enemies efficiently without being spotted using gadgets, security cameras, or electrical boxes to take down foes. And you can even hack your enemies to either distract them or explode them. Or you could go in guns blazing. All of that is completely up to you, which makes for a highly enjoyable experience that never gets old despite its repetitive nature, because the formula just works. Continuing on from the combat, what about the other mechanics like driving? Well, to be honest, it's pretty janky. Cars feel too light and floaty, making losing control of your vehicle a common issue, and some vehicles were built like absolute tanks. However, it's a fun kind of jank, despite it not really fitting the tone of the game. There are a wide variety of on-road vehicles like trucks, vans and motorbikes, and to be fair, bikes definitely fit the light and airy feel to the driving and are easy to control, however are still built like absolute bloody units. Boats by far are the best vehicles in the game and feel so smooth to control, but you don't get much use out of them unfortunately. What makes the driving fun, however, is the amount of destruction you can create on the road, especially during police chases, as you can use hacking abilities to trigger things like traffic lights causing crashes. You can raise bridges, raise barriers, you can even blow up steam pipes for some reason. All of this comes in handy for when you will need to chase down vehicles or to escape police or fixers, and the best part is, if you trigger these at the right time using the neutralized prompt, you will have a chance to enter a unique camera that shows extremely cool angles of the destruction you just caused in a slow motion view, which really got my blood pumping. However, I wish there were more of these unique angles, as the angles do end up being a bit too much of the same, so it doesn't really feel special once you witness them a few times. However, it's so goddamn cool. Another thing to add about this is the police are actually surprisingly hard to evade. You actually need to try and escape from them. Sure, you can find a workaround and hide, but where's the fun in that? Instead, you can use your skills and abilities to your advantage, making escaping even more chaotic and fun if you like a bit of challenge. Going back to the skill tree, we also have a few driving upgrades that will improve vehicle control, acceleration, as well as durability. But that doesn't fucking matter when they're built like fucking Nokia bricks to begin with. Hacking isn't just used for combat or evasion, however, you could profile any NPC around Chicago to gain some insights into their backgrounds, and some NPCs will have information that will unlock side content. Or if you're like me and an absolute twat, you can hack into their bank accounts and steal from them, which you can withdraw this cash from any ATM, which is wild, but also super funny. Doesn't really fit the tone of the game though. I appreciate how alive these NPCs feel, which we'll get into later. Let's just say you can really just see how much detail they put into this. The parkour in Watch Dogs 1 is great and very satisfying, but it's not the smoothest out there. Animations wise, it's great, and there's a wide variety of parkour moves you can pull off. However, because it's not the main focus of the game, there are points where parkour just isn't possible, and some obstacles are impossible to vault over, making the system feel janky at times. We won't be talking about this topic in this review, as I'm saving that for the Watch Dogs 2 review. Onto the side content. Firstly, we have gang hideouts, where you'll need to infiltrate gang spots and take down a specific person by identifying them, but without alerting the whole base and without killing your target, taking them down swiftly. There are also crime scenes, which are random spots that appear on the map, either by chance or through hacking NPCs that are communicating with potential criminals. In these short jobs, you'll need to survey the area for potential victims and find the culprit, and catch them by chasing them down and taking them down. However, if you're spotted, they will run away before committing a crime, making it so that they will get away. These are a bit repetitive and don't really have any specific differences, as they are all randomly generated, but sometimes they may be in areas where you can use the environment to catch a criminal off guard, making it easier to take them down. Next, we have criminal convoys, where you'll need to ambush moving convoys on specific routes before they reach their goal. You could do this by either blowing the shit out of all of them, or in other cases you'll need to pick them all off one by one and take down the target without lethal force. And finally, we have fixer contracts. These consist of delivering clients' vehicles within a specific time limit, tailing vehicles and downloading data without alerting them or letting them escape, or taking one vehicle to a specific drop point whilst avoiding police or fixers. All of these side missions are very repetitive, but super fun. However, I wish there were more gang hideouts and more unique potential crime encounters to spice things up. Other than that, I enjoyed all of these. Some could be frustrating at times, but once you learn the basics, they become somewhat addicting. Investigations are, well, points of interest on the map which you will need to investigate, whether it's finding illegal weapon points, burner phones, stopping a trafficking ring, or even ending a serial killer's spree of malice and sacrifices. These are simple and to the point. Some you'll need to solve puzzles for to unlock doors. Others is as simple as looking around the area and gaining data, or my personal favourite, scanning hidden QR codes within the environment, and some of these investigations will unlock exclusive side quests after completing them. For example, if you collect all of the QR codes, you'll be given a mission that will test your puzzle solving skills. These hidden quests are definitely fun, and some were especially great from a level design perspective, but were far too short and didn't feel rewarding enough. Similar to investigations, collection spots are points of interest where you'll need to collect information, like CTOS boxes, CTOS towers, audio logs, and city hotspots. CTOS towers are areas that you will need to infiltrate, either by breaking in using explosives or finding your way through in various other ways. As with most open world games, these towers will survey the area once activated and pinpoint POIs and even fast travel spots, which is highly useful. The other collection spots include invading people's privacy for some reason. Yeah, I'm not really sure how this fits the whole vigilante thing, but we'll move on. These are all pretty fun and I enjoyed my time collecting them. Most are in close proximity, so it doesn't feel like a drag to collect all the info. However, I hate the song sneak feature, where you need to either hack NPCs to register specific songs, or use the app in specific areas. The issue with this is some are really hard to come by, and you need to do this to get the Platinum Trophy. City games are points of interest around the map where you can, well, play city games that consist of drinking games, chess, shell games, and gambling. These are very fun and give us an insight into the culture of Chicago. The drinking game is a QTE minigame, where you'll need to press the prompts before they disappear, much like a rhythm game, but with effects that make it hard to be accurate. Chess is accurate to real chess, as it would be. I suck at chess, but honestly I really enjoyed finding out how it works, and there's also chess puzzles. Shell game is the one concentration game you'll see at fairs or theme parks, where there will be a ball placed underneath a cup and you have to concentrate on these cups as they are adjusted. Honestly, this is the coolest depiction I've ever seen of this iconic parlor game. I've actually noticed how quick the opponent's hand movements can be and how clever their distractions are. Gambling is gambling. Moving on. AR games are on-the-go arcade-like minigames that include Crash Run, where you'll need to collect coins or dodge obstacles, but at the same time try to beat your best score. You can also create your own. And Visor is a shoot-'em-up roguelite, where you'll need to survive waves of enemies. This is a fun game mode, as you can whip it out, at any time and play it at any location, making it feel new each time you play it. Or perhaps the weirdest and wackiest of all, digital trips are basically digital drug trips. Digital trips will allow you to play a ton of bizarre arcade-like minigames, each with their own skill trees and unique mechanics. Madness has you driving an indestructible car. Your goal is to complete various objectives within a time limit to earn XP, which will give you skill points to earn new upgrades. This game mode is fun and actually takes advantage of the janky driving system, definitely my second favourite. Alone is a stealth game set in an alternative reality where robots have taken over and you are the last man standing. The goal is to take over the city by capturing each district without being spotted, otherwise you'll be killed with ease. Each time you capture a point, you will gain a skill point, which can be put towards new abilities and gear. Conspiracy is a very straightforward identification minigame, where you'll need to find aliens disguised as people and take them down before they get too close and self-destruct. I enjoyed this mode, but it felt like it was a bit bland compared to the others. Psychedelic is perhaps the weirdest of them all. You will need to land on these flowers correctly to score points. The more accurate you are, the higher the score goes, with multiple trippy levels. However, the controls fucking suck, but this mode is still hilarious at times. And finally, Spider Tank, a spider mech minigame where your main goal is pure destruction. Similar to Madness in structure, but even cooler with many abilities and pure chaos, this quickly became my favourite. Every single one of these game modes are pure, endless fun and are repeatable. They may be immersion breaking, but in a world where you could literally hack steam pipes and traffic lights with your phone, I don't really care, especially because I don't see these as canon modes in the slightest, but they do seem to reflect Aiden's inner psyche. Except from that flower one, I have no idea what the fuck that's about. Finally, the online game modes. I'll only go through the main two, as the others are unplayable without PS Plus. From what I can remember though, they're all pretty decent modes, nothing special. I don't see the point in online races though, when attempting to drive in this game is borderline impossible in a racing setting. But the two core co-op games are tailing and hacking. These two are surprisingly very active to this day and do not require PS Plus to play. Tailing will have you following an enemy player by entering their game without their knowledge and following them, but don't get caught, otherwise it will alert them and you'll need to evade before they take you down. Or if you're the one being tailed, make sure to keep an eye out. I love this so much. The fact that you could be tailed at any moment in the game without knowing by another player is crazy, especially because you think it's a single player game, which yes it is, but these online features allow for the most interesting and creative online experiences you'll ever have. And the other online hacking mode also has two variants. One is when an enemy player invades you and hacks you. This is like hide and seek, where you will need to find who hacked you before your data is stolen, using tools like jamcongs to your advantage and searching within a shrinking circle to profile and eliminate the hacker. And the other version is where you yourself are the hacker and you'll need to find a hiding spot and wait it out in order to steal their data. However, if you are spotted, you can escape and still earn some rewards. I love this mode too. It's pure fun and at times chaotic. It can happen at any point without you having the choice, and you will need to stop a player from taking your data. Now this did get annoying at times whenever I was on a mission. I'll be hacked back to back by another player, but I think this element of surprise is exactly what makes this game mode so fun. However, you can turn this feature off in the settings. It definitely has its issues, but I would love to have a game like this as I felt like it was such a creative use of an online function. Also, I think this guy might need an eye test. Watchdogs, though definitely not as graphically impressive as originally presented at E3, still holds up today. I'm still shocked by how beautifully detailed this world is and how it rivals games of today with how goddamn alive they make Chicago feel. Absolutely nothing beats the vibes of a dark, foggy and stormy night in Chicago. The vibes have never been captured in any game to this day. All the vibrant and beautiful autumn mornings in this bustling city. The visuals in this game are truly incredible and have aged wonderfully, even on the Xbox 360 and PS3. Chicago feels alive in many ways, and also somewhat embodies the sorrows of Aiden's life, with that gloomy, foggy look during storms. That, by the way, looks crazy good visually. I just want to go over a few of the many insane world building details in Watch Dogs 1. NPCs feel alive, they have their own routines and lives to live. We can see NPCs working their jobs and taking a lunch break, having rap battles, taking group photos, playing sports, and even protesting. And we can scan them to find out how much they make, their likes, and also their unique traits. Every NPC is an individual, and it's shocking that this game, again, is from 11 years ago. That is crazy, but the details don't end there. If a car crashes cause, naturally, those involved in the accident will hop out their vehicle and argue. Oh, and some social media twats will record what's happening in front of them, which is painfully realistic but also hilarious. Speaking of being a twat, if you push someone over whilst they're having a phone call, that call will end, and they may even drop their phone or any objects they're holding on the floor. Some NPCs I've even seen have stole items that have been dropped on the floor, which is just crazy. Moving on to that protagonist himself, Aiden will react to the environment itself. If there's an explosion near him, he'll flinch or even trip over. If you run into oncoming traffic, then he will also flinch. You could take the train, which is pure vibes, and captures the feeling perfectly, and run through the whole of Chicago. You can even use this to fast travel or evade police. You can cause a blackout via electrical boxes around the city or using blackout abilities. And I don't have to say anything here, just take a look at this. You can find various nods and references to Ubisoft's other IPs like Raven Rabbids and Far Cry. Those are just a few of the many, many, many details, but that will take up too much time if I mention them. But let's just say it gets crazier than this and only improves in later entries into the series. If you wish to see more of these details, I'll leave a link below to a video showing the many insane details within this brilliant game. The soundtrack of this game is absolutely stacked, with some absolute classics included on the radio, but aside from that, this game's original soundtrack is also amazing and fits the vibe perfectly, which we'll be hearing throughout this video. All with meaning behind them and are used exactly when needed, but that's just kind of a given from Ubisoft at the time. Especially the main menu music, along with those chase tracks, absolute bangers. I don't have much to add here, just a great soundtrack overall, but I wish the radio had some sort of host as it lacks much personality. The reason why GTA and Fallout have such iconic radio stations is not just because of the music, but because of the charming and charismatic hosts that are so memorable. But that's just not here. Occasionally we'll get news reports, but they also lack any personality. Next up is the outfits. Now, if you went to a clothing shop, you would expect variety, right? Well, fuck you, just take these copy and paste outfits, just with a different colour scheme. Now, I'd like to think Aiden just has zero taste, but the DLC outfits are actually pretty decent. I especially love the 1920s outfit, but really, is this all we can get? It's irrelevant, to be fair, and I don't care all too much, but don't have the option to begin with if there aren't really any options. A minor but very annoying complaint is the sun glare. It's very subtle, as you can tell, and totally not blinding, and made some missions a pain when you couldn't see a goddamn thing. So I can't really think of any major flaws that haven't already been mentioned in previous topics or in other people's videos, but if you have any of your own, then please let me know in the comments. Just keep it spoiler free for everyone else. It's only natural I might miss a few, but if I do, I'll put them in a pinned comment. And now for the final verdict. Watch Dogs will always be my favourite game of all time. I didn't mention that at the beginning because people might believe I'm biased, but no, I'm completely aware of the game's flaws, but despite those flaws, this game is still perfect to me. The details, the story, and the gameplay are amazing. Though some parts did seem a bit rushed, this game is 11 years old, and I think it still holds up to this day, and even rivals some of today's big games. So I'll be giving Watch Dogs a 90% on the revs meter. It may be my favourite game, but I can recognise its flaws. If you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to like and subscribe, and even comment, it really helps. And if you have any feedback or criticism, then let me know in the comments, be as honest as you want. I strive to create the best possible reviews. And with that, I'll be seeing you in the next one. Up next, we'll be reviewing Watch Dogs Bad Blood. Thank you for watching.